Clint Eastwood talked about the 7 women he thought were the beautiful in Hollywood. This was a time before he became famous for directing movies, winning Oscars, and starring in really big films. Then Clint Eastwood was just a person who knew what real beauty looked like. Not the kind that Hollywood creates with makeup and fancy clothes, but the kind of beauty that can actually make a room feel different when these women are in it. Clint Eastwood saw beauty in these 7 women that was genuine and special. When you think about Clint Eastwood, you think about the movies he did in interviews, and he talked about the women who really impressed him. There were 7 women who he thought were really special. These women were a part of what made old Hollywood so glamorous. For Eastwood, beauty is not just about looking good. It is about something. He thought that beauty comes from inside a person, and that is what makes them really beautiful. Eastwood had a list of the beautiful women who were in the movies. Each woman on the list of women was there because she was one of a kind and people still remember her. The women on Eastwood's list of women are the ones who had a big impact on people. Number 7, Raquel Welch. They never actually worked together on a movie or anything. That did not stop him from thinking she was great. He said something about her that I think is really true. He said Raquel Welch could just walk into a room and nobody would want her to say a word because Raquel Welch had this face and this body and this personality that just spoke for itself. Raquel Welch was born Jo Raquel Tejada in Chicago back in 1940. Raquel Welch became so much more than just another pretty face in Hollywood. Raquel Welch actually changed what people thought a sex symbol was back in the 1960s. Eastwood said in a 1984 interview that a lot of women back then were blonde and seemed easy to talk to, but Raquel was different. She seemed like someone you could not touch, maybe even a little scary. The moment that made her really famous was when she was in the 1966 movie 1,000,000 Years BC. She wore a bikini made of deerskin. It became very famous, making her known all around the world. Eastwood liked more than just the way she looked. He remembered that Raquel walked into a room like she was, in charge like a queen who could take care of herself if she needed to. People saw that Eastwood would get really quiet when she was around at movie events in the 1970s. By the 1980s, a lot of women who were thought of as sexy were not popular anymore. Raquel Welch was still doing well. She started her businesses. She kept acting in movies. She was still famous. Raquel Welch was still a star. Eastwood later said that the real beauty of a person is seen when they get older and they still look good. He thought this woman was an example of that because she was still beautiful even when she was not young anymore. He said she was one of the actresses he really wanted to work with. He thought she was a special person who did not need special lights or a certain way of taking pictures to look good. Eastwood thought she was beautiful the way she was. He also thought that another woman showed a different kind of beauty, one that was more subtle. Number 6, Audrey Hepburn. She was not the kind of woman he usually liked. She really impressed him. Eastwood thought Audrey Hepburn was a classy person. He said she had a face that did not need to say much. He thought she was really special, like she was made of something than everyone else. What really got his attention was that she could be strong and weak at the time. Eastwood believed that it takes a lot of confidence to be able to do that, to show strength through vulnerability, and that is what he liked about her, that she could show Eastwood her strength through vulnerability. He really liked Audrey Hepburn in movies like Breakfast at Tiffany's, My Fair Lady, and Wait Until Dark. The Nun Story was Audrey Hepburn's most beautiful movie to him because it was all about how she felt and not just about looking good. When Audrey Hepburn left Hollywood to do work with UNICEF, Clint Eastwood thought she was even more amazing. He said that you can see what someone is like when they are not acting anymore. After Audrey Hepburn died in 1993, he said that she might have been the beautiful person in the history of Hollywood because of who she was and what she did. He thought that Audrey Hepburn inspired people to think about themselves. They did not just look at her, say she is beautiful. After many years, he said that Hollywood is missing people like Audrey Hepburn. These are people who know that being a little mysterious can be more interesting than telling everyone everything about yourself. Number 5, Sophia Loren. Clint Eastwood said Sophia Loren is a woman she is bold and she is sensual. Audrey Hepburn was beautiful in a way, but Sophia Loren demands attention when she is around. Sophia Loren was born Sophia Villani Ciccolone in Rome in 1934. Sophia Loren grew up poor in Italy during the war. Sophia Loren became a famous symbol of what it means to be a mature woman. Eastwood noticed that American women were often seen as beautiful if they were young in the 1950s and 1960s. Sophia Loren showed what it means to be a full-grown woman. He saw Sophia Loren for the time at the Cannes Film Festival in 1965. Sophia Loren was very confident. That stuck with him. He said some people take a time to make an impression in a room, but Sophia seemed to take over the whole room right away, and it was easy for her. He thought she was beautiful. He also liked that she was smart and funny. He believed that if someone is only beautiful, they get boring after a while. Sophia, like Loren, is an example of this. Loren won an Oscar for her role in Two Women in 1960, which was a deal, because it was the first time someone won an Oscar for a movie that was not in English. This showed that Loren was willing to play characters who were sad, angry, and desperate even if they did not look perfect. Sophia had this kind of talent, and it made her very special. Eastwood thought that people liked Sophia Loren because she was an independent woman. She was always a bit out of reach, you know. When Eastwood met Sophia Loren again in the 1970s, he still felt really intimidated by her. He noticed that Sophia Loren got more beautiful. As she got older, she did not lose her beauty like some people do. Eastwood really respected the fact that Sophia Loren stayed true to who she was. She kept her roots and her connections to European films. She did not let Hollywood change her into something she was not. Eastwood said that Sophia Loren was very comfortable with being a woman, and that is what made Sophia Loren so special. It is what made people keep liking her for so many years. Number 4, Jean Seberg. Jean Seberg had a beauty that Eastwood said was quiet, like something you do not notice at first. It was also ethereal and unforgettable. Jean Seberg was born in Iowa in 1938. She was picked by director Otto Preminger from thousands of people to play the role of Joan of Arc in the movie St. Joan in 1957. The movie St. Joan was not a hit, but it helped start Jean Seberg's career. Jean Seberg's career later connected Hollywood to the French New Wave because of her role in the movie Breathless. Clint Eastwood met Jean Seberg in Paris in 1968, when Jean Seeger was not very famous yet. At that time, Jean Seberg was mostly known for the television show Rawhide and the Western movies made by Sergio Leone. Clint Eastwood thought Jean Seberg was really beautiful. She looked like she was almost see-through. He also thought she had a kind of presence that made her seem like she might just disappear if you looked away from Jean Seberg. Jean Seberg had a haircut that people called a pixie haircut. Clint Eastwood thought what really made Jean Seberg special was how smart and sad she looked in her eyes. When Clint Eastwood talked to Jean Seberg, they only talked for a while. During this time, Jean Seberg talked about France, making movies, and how she felt about America, which was really complicated for Jean Seberg. Later, Eastwood found out that the FBI was watching her and trying to hurt her reputation because of her work for rights. This really affected her. It is very sad that she took her own life in 1979. He said that when he learned about the time she was going through, it made sense to him why she seemed so troubled. Eastwood thought that her beauty was because she was vulnerable and had a lot of depth, which is what made her so memorable to him even after they met. He remembered Eastwood thought her beauty came from her being vulnerable and having a lot of depth. The civil rights activism of Eastwood's friend was really important to her. Number 3, Ingrid Bergman. Clint Eastwood thought she was a deal in Hollywood, and he really liked her in movies. She was born in Stockholm in 1915. Ingrid Bergman made American movies better in the 1940s. She was in films like Casablanca, Notorious, and Spellbound. These movies were really good. Ingrid Bergman was an actress. She made movies seem real. Clint Eastwood met Ingrid Bergman in 1978. This was at a Directors Guild event. It was 2 years before she died from breast cancer. Even when she was not feeling well, Ingrid Bergman still impressed Clint Eastwood. He liked that she was okay with getting older. Ingrid Bergman did not try to hide her age with lots of makeup. Clint Eastwood really admired this about her. He liked Ingrid Bergman a lot. Ingrid Bergman's career was really hurt in 1950 when she left her husband for Roberto Rossellini, the movie director she had 3 kids with, including Isabella Rossellini. Clint Eastwood thought she was a very honest person, and he liked that about her. He loved the way she acted in Autumn Sonata because it was real. She was not trying to show off. Ingrid Bergman was okay with being photographed without any makeup on. She was happy with how she looked naturally. This was something that Clint Eastwood really liked about her, because he believed in being real. He thought Ingrid Bergman was still a person because she was honest and open with her feelings. Number 2, Sondra Locke. Sondra Locke had a personal and complicated relationship with Eastwood that people will never forget. Sondra Locke was born in Tennessee in 1944. She did a job in The Heart is a Lonely Hunter and even got nominated for an Academy Award in 1968. Sondra Locke met Eastwood when they were working on The Outlaw Josie Wales in 1975. This is how Sondra Locke and Eastwood started working, and they kept making movies for almost 14 years. Sondra Locke and Eastwood made 6 movies, like The Gauntlet and Every Which Way, Loose and Bronco Billy, and Any Which Way You Can, and Sudden Impact. Eastwood thought she was really beautiful in a way that was very emotional and hard to show on camera. He felt that she was very open and honest, which made her acting very special. They broke up in a way in 1989 and even had some legal problems, but Eastwood later said that she had a big impact on his life. He said that some people can change who you are, and that change can last forever. Eastwood believed that her beauty was connected to how complex she was, and that this kind of beauty stays with you even when it makes you feel uncomfortable. Eastwood said that her beauty is the kind that you remember when it is hard to think about. Number 1, Marilyn Monroe. He thought she was the beautiful woman in a very bad way. What I mean by that is she was so beautiful that you would forget everything around you when you saw her. Marilyn Monroe was born Norma Jean Mortensen in 1926. She had a tough childhood and had to work in a factory. She became very famous and was known as the biggest sex symbol of the 20th century. Eastwood met Marilyn Monroe at a cafe in Universal Studio in the 1950s. He never forgot this meeting. He said she was glowing and had a lot of charm. When she was around people, she made the air feel electric. Eastwood thought Marilyn Monroe was a special person. Marilyn Monroe was a special person to him. He thought that the things that made her seem weak were just as important as the things that made her beautiful. He loved watching her act in movies like The Misfits Bus Stop and Some Like It Hot. When Marilyn Monroe died in 1962 at the age of 36, it made people think about her more. Clint Eastwood could not. Wonder what other movies Marilyn Monroe might have been in if she had lived longer. He thought that people still loved Marilyn Monroe because she was things all at once. Marilyn Monroe was innocent and sexy, strong and weak and real and fake all at the time. He even kept Tom Kelly's famous red velvet photograph of Monroe in his Malpaso Productions office as a reminder that behind every iconic image is a real human being. For Eastwood, Monroe's beauty was unforgettable because it revealed humanity, humor, and pain all at once.